Hey guys, what's up? It's Rock. I just wanted to come online. I've been in the sales game for a little over 20 years at this point. And after talking with one of my clients, he basically alluded to the fact that he thought that it would be almost selfish of myself not to share some of the things that I've learned in my journey in terms of where I've grown up, in terms of the um, coming from the projects and making my way through the world into, a pretty successful sales career at this point in time. And so what I wanted to try to do is I've talked to more and more people, hundreds, thousands of people, hundreds of clients at this point. What I'm noticing is more desperation in people for their kids, for their grandkids. There's a lot of people who have kind of given up on the American dream. Um, Countless amount of people have given up on, finding a significant other partner. There's so much negativity in the world going back and forth. And what I want to do is try to just share some of the things that I've learned in my life as it relates to success. And what I've learned is it's really just a mindset. Um, when you break it down, what I really want to do with this channel is essentially have 10-minute segments, 10-15-minute segments where I can focus on a topic and allow you guys to think about the topic, think about how maybe I look at something relative to how you may look at something, and see if it's something that can fit, within your life. I hope, the message is just essentially be able to help somebody, if it's one out of 100 people, one out of 200 people, et cetera, et cetera. I generally believe in passing it forward. And so I guess the first thing that I would try to tell individuals is essentially, um, when I grew up, I was raised in the projects, and so what something happened to me early on in life, and it's funny how things happen. You don't anticipate them; they just kind of happen, and then you think back, wow, and say to yourself, "Wow, that really changed my life." I was probably around 7 or 8 years old, and I was in the house, well, the apartment at that point in time, and one of my aunts walked in the door and we started talking and she was playing around, whatever. And during the course of the conversation, she said, we used to call you the miracle baby. So I looked at her with a quizzical look in my eyes and, kind of wondered what she was talking about. And as the conversation went on, she basically said that, my parents were going to abort me, which obviously you're talking to a 7 or 8 year old kid. It kind of hits you. You don't really know the meaning of it. You don't know where it's coming from, etc. Um, but when she told me that, it hit a different chord. And as I got older, what I realized essentially is my brain took that to mean that a higher power wanted me here. My aunt basically told me that my grandmother told my mom, not to abort me because God had a purpose for this kid, or God had a purpose for this baby. And when you think like that, essentially there's nothing that another human being can say to you to bring you down, because you truly do believe that you have a higher purpose. I truly believe that I'm here by the grace of God. I'm here, in terms of, I'm a miracle. And I think ultimately, I think if we actually stopped in it, whether it's in the morning, afternoon, whatever, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and really thought about the, how much of a miracle you are, I think you would be surprised. I hear so many people complaining or, having issues with certain things. But the reality of the situation is, when you think about what you're capable of, you truly are a miracle. Everything that you do, requires millions of things that are going on in your brain, and then, sending it to other pieces of your body, et cetera, et cetera. If you just stop for a second and thought about the fact that, you are a miracle, there's very little that other people are going to say to you to tell you that you can't do something, try to put you down, because you're looking at that person as another human, but you're also saying to yourself, there's a greater purpose here. So, what I really wanted to try to get across in this first video, that I'm putting up, is essentially, you have to have a baseline in terms of success. And when you talk about success, how I look at it is, success is individually defined. But ultimately, you have to believe that you're going to be successful before anybody else believes that you're going to be successful. And so what you have to do is put yourself in a mindset where you are essentially saying to yourself, I am put here for a reason, for a purpose, by a higher power, and I'm going to define my goals, my objectives, what I think is success. Now, I will tell you, I'm, a married individual. My definition of success is completely different than my wife's definition of success. And that was defined at a very early age. I look at all of the things that I went through when I was younger, and I lost my dad in 2016, but I remember my dad basically telling me, I just want you to be better than me. And so ultimately, it was very important for me. How I defined success was being able to provide, for my family when I got one, being a protector of my family when I had one, being known as a good husband, being known as a good dad. So that's how I defined success. So a lot of us look at money and being able to make a lot of money, et cetera, et cetera. And that was a very important factor when I was younger. But obviously, as I've gotten older, I would tell you that even making the money, what I realized is the money didn't automatically bring happiness. In fact, I would say when I was making the most money is when things in my household, were not that they were ever bad, but they weren't working as they should be. Because the reality is, when you're working 12 hours in a day, it's nice from the standpoint of bringing in money. The problem is, you're not there as a dad. You're not there as a husband. And so I think it's very important to have a balance in your life, so, and how you define success. Where you start at in terms of how you define success may not be ultimately what you, once you get that success, you may have to then redefine what you consider success. So when I first started, essentially making money was all I cared about. But then as I made the money, and then I saw how I wasn't there, with my wife, I was missing moments, et cetera, et cetera. It wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it was. You had to bring that balance back in order for me to be fulfilled, obviously, where you're still making decent money, but you can also enjoy the fact that you're making that money with your wife, with, now my two beautiful kids, et cetera, et cetera. Now, you compare and contrast that with the fact that from a very young age, how my wife defined success was very simply being a good wife and being a good mom. Me personally, the most influential person in my life is my mom. This is something that's personal to me, but I don't think as a female, there's a higher title than, being a mom. I think ultimately that's the most important, you know, job title that my wife will ever hold. I think it's something in seeing something that you created grow and flourish, et cetera, et cetera. But, I think that is what I chose to be successful, as, the symbol of success. And you can see that my wife chose something completely different. And that is what defines success to her. And I think ultimately we get so caught up in looking at other people and how they define success. But, we just have to be careful in looking at other people and how they define success, because, the reality of the situation is a lot of times you think people are happy just because they have money and they're miserable. And vice versa. You take the people who, don't have a lot of money, but they have their marriage, they have, their kids, they're healthy, the bottom line. So at the end of the day, it's really what you define as success. And so what I hope that I can get across to individuals as I'm posting these videos is very simply that you are put here by a higher power. We are all a miracle. When you look at the things that we are able to do, we have the supercomputer. There's nothing that this thing up here cannot do when you actually want it to do something. Um, we have to start taking time to think about how special each and every single one of us are. Just simple things. When you wake up in the morning, the amount of things that have to go on in your brain in order for you to open your eyes, for you to get out of bed, for you to walk to the bathroom, to brush your teeth. There's millions upon millions of things that your brain is, responding to, making this happen, making that happen. And I think sometimes this world can make you just take those things for granted. You have to realize that you are special and you are your own miracle. God made, billions of miracles individually in each one of us. But ultimately, I want this channel to be something where we're helping each other achieve our definition of success. And so, what I'm hoping is, if you want to make money, I can share some of the ideas and a way of thinking that helped me, get to a certain point. If you want a happy marriage, there's things that how my brain thinks, what, the people that I've talked to that have had successful marriages, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, just observing them and taking accountability for things that I was doing correctly and things that, I could improve on, and asking them, what does it take to get to 10 years, 15, 20 years, 30 years in terms of a marriage. So just trying to, throw those little tidbits at you that, if it's one or two things that you guys can pick up in the videos, or in the posts, that's what this is about, is paying it forward, allowing, you guys to grow in your own way. So, this will be one, the first of, many thoughts, ideas that I have, that I'd love to share with you guys. If you guys like the content, if you want to hear anything specific, I'd love to hear you guys, your thoughts, about things that you might want to hear about, topics, anything of that nature, just so I can try to pass any of that, any knowledge that I have. And listen, I'm not the end all be all on knowledge, or doing things right or wrong. What I've done in my life might work for me and obviously won't work for others. But what I've learned is, if the more people you listen to, you respect them, if they're doing it the right way, there may be 10 things that they say that if you can pick up one or two of those things that help you in your relationship, so be it. And so like I said before, what I would love for you guys to do is essentially, if you like the content, like, hit that subscribe button, and allow me to grow this channel and allow us to help each other. Obviously try to spread more love in this world, try to, help each other out instead of all of the negativity that we've been seeing and this divisiveness, because it's helping none of us. I want my kids to grow up in a better world. I want my kids to be obviously safe. And I just, what I'm hoping and praying is that the things that I am trying to impart on you, if you can glean one, two, three things on a specific topic, if I can help you guys achieve, success, whether it's financial, whether it's your relationships, whether it's, just issues with your coworkers, your friends, things of that nature. That's the purpose of this channel. So listen, I love you guys. Like I said before, like the content, subscribe, and we'll be back.